Is this a fish? Is this an elephant? Is this a bird? Of course, they are all birds. But how could you tell? Oh my, this bird sure is beautiful, isn't it? Hi, I'm Pocus. There sure seems to be a lot of birds around just about everywhere you go. Nobody has actually counted every single bird, of course. But people who study birds believe there are about 100 billion birds in the whole wide world. That's millions and millions and millions of birds. In fact, there are so many birds around that for each and every one of you, there are 50 birds somewhere in the world. Okay, so there are a lot of birds around, but just how do we know what is a bird and what is not a bird? Can you think of any ways that birds are alike? Feathers. Yes, feathers. If you thought feathers, you were right. I don't suppose there is a single color you ever saw or can think of that can't be found in the feathers of one bird or another. Besides feathers, in what other ways are birds alike? Well, did you say that all birds have 2 wings? Of course. But did you know that better airplanes have been built because of what was learned from birds? Although some rather unhappy tries at copying birds did take place. Okay, besides feathers and wings, what else do all birds have in common? Right, birds have beaks that let them eat a variety of things. Can you think of anything else that all birds have? Yes, 2 legs and 2 feet. Now that we know some things all birds have, feathers, 2 wings, a beak, and 2 legs and 2 feet, we can easily tell what is a bird and what is not a bird, can't we? But there are differences between birds as well. Important differences. Can you think of some of the differences in birds?
Here you go, Petey. Here, Petey. Have a nice banana.
Come, Myrtle, come. Where did you meet your friend?
Well, I'm taking care of Pete the parakeet for my sister, Pearl. She's going to be out of town for a few days.
Well, what in the world are you trying to feed Pete? Ah, parakeets don't eat bananas.
They don't? Oh, I thought he'd like some after eating those dry-looking seeds. Ooh, maybe a worm. Would you like one?
Ah, no, thanks. stick to my diet of corn and other seeds. Anyway, look at the shape of Pete's beak. That should tell you what type of food he eats.
Well, it is different than yours. It's smaller, of course, and it curves down more. I wonder why.
If there's anyone who's an expert on birds, I am. Gah! I can show you all about the differences in birds, differences in beaks, differences in wings, and differences in legs and feet. Just look with me here at my favorite book.
Oh, Hocus, let me see. Let me see.
Okay, Myrtle, okay. And how about you? Would you like to see some of the differences in birds too?
First, let's see how birds' beaks are different.
Righto, gah! Beaks are very important because the beaks, or bills, of birds are used to get their food. And they're different shapes to allow them to eat different foods. Look here, for example. Gah! In lakes and ponds, some ducks use their flat, shovel-like beaks to scoop up plants growing on the bottom of the shallow waters. Gah! Do you know this bird?
Why, it's a pelican, and he sure has a large bill.
That's to catch his fish as he sits on the water. Gah! He'll dive head first for a fish and scoop it up, carrying it away in his sack under his bill to eat later. Gah! Look at this strange bird. Can you guess what the flamingo likes to eat?
Wow, look at that big, thick, curvy bill. What does he like to eat, Hocus?
The flamingo is a different bird if there ever was one. It usually catches its food in the marshy areas, and it moves the upper part of its bill instead of the lower.
Why, that's upside down from the way other birds and people move their mouths when they eat.
God, you see, when the flamingo feeds, he sticks his head in the water upside down until the top of his bill is on the bottom. Then he chomps away with his movable upper bill and catches little shellfish, the favorite food of flamingos.
But what about birds that get their food on dry land? Do they have different types of beaks too?
Gah! The food on dry land is quite different. So, do you think that beaks would be different? Some birds, like the finches, have beaks that are strong, short, and thick to allow them to crunch the hard seeds, nuts, and greens that they love to eat.
Oh, I've seen robins tug and pull to get a worm out of the ground right in my own backyard.
So, as you can see, the robin has a short, pointed beak to help it dig for worms. Birds such as hawks have sharp, strong hook beaks that can be used to tear meat into small pieces to eat. Gah!
I've heard that mice, squirrels, rabbits, snakes, and even other birds make good meals for hawks.
Now your feet, Myrtle, are your feet different from other people's feet? Gah! How about your feet? Are they different from your friends' feet?
People everywhere have the same sort of feet, and they use them for the same purpose: to stand, to walk on, and to run.
But the feet of birds have to do all sorts of things, from paddling in water to gripping a tree branch or perch.
So, birds' feet are also quite different.
And this difference in their feet makes it possible for different birds to live in different places. Gah! What kind of feet do birds have that swim for their foods? Birds such as ducks have webbed feet that they use as paddles.
But wading birds must need very different feet, since birds like the egret spend much of their time in marshes and swamps.
Oh, yes! They have 3 unusually long toes forward, gah, and a flat heel in order to keep from sinking or getting stuck in the muddy bottom.
What about birds that you see in trees, on wires, or even on perches in a cage? How are their feet different?
If you look closely, you'll see that these birds have 4 toes, gah, 3 in front and 1 in back.
Oh, I see. This allows the birds to lock their toes around whatever they are perching on.
But many woodpeckers are different yet. Their lives depend on being able to climb trees to hunt for insects. So most
sure are different. How does that help them?
Gah! They catch their food with their feet. So it's no wonder they need large, sharp claws on their feet. Feet that allow the hawk, for example, to fly down and catch small animals.
Well, there are more kinds and sizes of birds' feet than I ever imagined.
You bet, Myrtle. Gah! Can you think of any strange birds in the world that have other differences?
I have some pictures of strange birds right up here somewhere. Here they are. Here is a picture of a bird that has wings but cannot fly.
Penguins have wings, all right, but they're paddle-shaped and are useful for swimming, not flying.
And the smallest bird, can it fly?
Gah! The smallest bird, the tiny hummingbird, some only 2 inches long, can fly all right, sideways and backwards, or straight up and down, or even shoot ahead at 60 miles an hour.
Well, I can see now that all birds are alike in many ways, but there are differences in birds. Birds may have beaks, but they are different sizes and shapes. Birds may have 2 feet, but they also can look different from one another. But they are still all birds.
Good, Myrtle, good. See what other differences, important differences, that you can discover in birds. Now, how about getting some seeds for Pete to eat?
All right, Hocus, and I'll bring back some for you, too.
Birds are animals that are the same in many ways. Ways that allow us to tell if an animal is a bird or not. Is this a bird? Of course not. Are these birds then? No, they're not birds either. How about this? Is this a bird? Okay, but how could you tell? Right. Like all birds, it has feathers, 2 wings, a beak, and 2 feet. But there are differences between birds. There are differences in beaks that allow birds to eat different foods. There are differences in feet that allow birds to live in different places. Birds are important to life on Earth. They eat many of the insects that damage crops. They help scatter seeds. They brighten our life with color and fill it with song. Watch and listen. See how many different birds there are in your area.